What's up, Gloucester Township? I'm Joe Allen. This is Keith Gibbons.
How's it going?
It's the GT Observer podcast for, this is the
last one of the year.
Last one of the year. I don't know, unless we do a New Year's Eve celebration. Oh, we should have thought of that. We should have done New Year's Eve celebration, fireworks and everything kind of thing. Oh, man. We got hours to get it on.
Yeah.
Figured it all out.
But yeah, no, today we are here recapping the very last council meeting of the year, which was a little bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, hope you all had a great holiday, whichever of the holidays you celebrate. But
happy Hanukkah, happy
Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah,
Christmas, Merry Christmas.
That might cover them all. I'm not sure.
Festivus. Everyone always forgets Festivus. The rest of us.
I don't know what Festivus is.
It's the airing of grievances. You weren't a Seinfeld fan growing up?
Is that what it's from?
Yeah.
Okay.
George's family. Yeah.
I've seen it over and over again, and I thought, like, in a distant memory, I've seen the Festivus part on TV, and I'm like, I just don't know what it comes from.
It's a pole. Yep. And you decorate the pole instead of a tree. There's the feats of strength. There's the airing of grievances. All kinds of fun stuff.
Oh man, I didn't.
It's a great holiday. Yeah. Kruger, my son says your company sucks. That's one of the best lines of television of all times.
I didn't. I had not been. I had not figured out what that. I feel like I knew it, but then I forgot it. But I thought it was. For some reason, I had the guy from, the father from, like, Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
I thought that was the guy that did it, but I was wrong. I guess it was. So it was Costanza then.
It was Costanza. Yeah, it was on Seinfeld.
Okay.
Yep, George's dad.
All right, now I know. Anyway,
I know. Yeah. That's a whole other.
Hope everybody's Christmas was great.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have great plans for New Year's Eve. You have big plans for New Year's Eve?
I don't, honestly. No.
No, I have not. I've not even thought about it yet.
I'm 112 now, so I don't do plans for Christmas Eve.
I love having something. I love having these. I love going to these either big events or having like big parties at the house. But it's been years now since we've done anything big or have gone anywhere big, and I kind of feel like for like 3 years, I think I had COVID like every New Year's, so it was just like I was just done. Yeah, like
that's true.
After I've record breaking COVID. The amount of times I've had COVID, so I've always just been like or somebody in the house or somebody close by. So we haven't done anything in a while, and I'm now just last minute thinking like I gotta figure out what to do now.
Well, now old people watch the Gloucester Township Podcast Observer. The Gloucester Township.
They do.
Observer
Well, except the one guy who continuously comments on Facebook and Twitter that we are unwatchable.
Well,
there is a guy out there. His name's Joe. He says we're unwatchable.
He's probably right. I mean, honestly,
it's too long. It's too long for him. He's got a shorter attention span probably than me, and 15 minutes into the podcast, am already like, I'm writing essays and stuff like that on my phone, and I'm doing all kinds because I can't keep my attention very long. This guy says we're way too long. We need to summarize a 2-hour council meeting in 15 minutes for him. That's what he wants.
38 seconds. Do it.
So
do it.
Good news for him. The new mayor propaganda podcast is coming out, which they're gonna summarize all of the good and special things coming to Gloucester Township in monthly. So every month you're gonna get a new installation of the Gloucester Township propaganda podcast.
So 12 times a year. Yep.
Yeah. They're gonna tell you exactly all of the good things that are going to happen, all the stuff that your tax money is going to pay for. So, Joe, glad you've got a new medium now to
Joe Graves. Is that his name?
It's not Joe Graves. No, he's the
Joe. What's his name?
Waters, I believe it is.
Waters. Okay.
No, Joe Graves is another. Man, all the Joes in this town are really just terrible, other than me. That's just. It's like me.
You got Graves, you got D'Amico, you got Waters.
I guess D'Amico's half good, right? We still like that guy. But no, it's but back to the podcast here.
Into what we're here for.
See, we've already lost Joe. We've already lost him.
Way too much time.
December 23rd, council meeting recap. It was I not only did I not go to this meeting, I didn't watch it live. I didn't. None of it.
It was a holiday. It's the holiday season, right?
Yeah.
I had a specific intention of going there. I had two things. One thing has been irking me for quite some time, so I had to send in an eGov. Another thing has. Oh, what's our sound guy?
Now we're getting there.
Yeah. Another thing has been irking me because people were contacting me about a payment that they were due as a township employee, as if I'm able to do something for them. I don't know. I don't run anything in the town, or why. I don't know why they're asking me, but they feel the need to ask me, maybe from this podcast or something that we can look into, which we can. You and I have somewhat built an obligation of ourselves to look into things and report back to people of what's actually going on. So they did. They asked hey, what's going on with this, this payment that we're due, and things like that. So that was another thing that came up. But the one thing that I wanted to do based off of last episode's recording was capture the look. We've talked about this before on the podcast. the mannerisms and the facial, just the disdain that our business administrator has for us and our council president, and just the close-ups of what their face looks like. If you're not in that room and if you're not up close enough to see the mannerisms and the disdain that they have for you as the public, it required me to go in there with a camera and zoom up and get extreme close-ups for you, because every one of you people deserve to see what this guy thinks of you. He effing hates you. Every single one of you out there that has any kind of question about what's going on, he hates you. And our council president, he rules over you. He does not represent you. He rules over you. And the camera, the $69 webcam, as it's been put many times, can't capture that. Even if you zoom in on what we capture on there, it can't zoom in. So I said, you know what? Look, I have professional recording equipment. Let me bring it with me. My daughter, embarrassed out of her skull, she didn't even want to come with me. She wanted to go to the meeting so bad because she wanted to see it. But she's like, Dad, I can't sit with you. I'm like, oh, then go sit somewhere else. I'm going to go sit
in a chair with the camera.
I did. I sat on the opposite side of the room that I normally sit. There was a seat that was missing.
Oh, man. Okay.
I propped the tripod down and I placed it up there. Miss Smithman was not exactly happy about that. She couldn't find a spot that she was able to go without. She doesn't like being on camera, but she likes recording herself. She found somewhere. I had the camera. Faced out there, but I had to do this to not hold accountable, but hold accountable. We're allowed to record you as a public employee in the course of your duty. Yeah. People deserve to be able to see the smug ass effing face that you put on when you answer people's questions, who have every right to ask you those questions. People need to see what you think of them.
I thought about this before too. They keep cracking down. There's new rules every couple months on what's going to happen during council meetings, and I always thought, what if they stop doing council meetings online? How much equipment are we going to bring into this thing every week?
Yeah.
And then just have several cameras just panning on them.
Yeah.
And how great that would be. But yeah, it's just a great example of just a little bit of extra coverage. And a couple of our clips here now we're going to have that little bit of extra coverage to where, look, it's easy on that little $69 camera, and when your microphone's twisted out underneath of the table, to comment to the person behind the mic, but not really be kind of held accountable. So this is great. The camera's right there. It's pointed at them. I hope you guys enjoy it. First public portion that came up for agenda items only, Denise Coyne right away challenges the agenda, and because there were things that did not make it to the agenda several days before with adequate public notice, like the Open Public Meetings Act says. So,
right. So there's certain things you have to abide by in order to follow that. The guidelines around that, and it's posting a certain amount of time. And this isn't the first time that this has come up. This has come up multiple times in Gloucester Township, just as most recently as the last public meeting, where things weren't on the agenda, which is legally supposed to be posted, but they were on the supporting documents. Well, it wasn't on the agenda, so that didn't meet the public meeting agenda requirements. They moved forward anyway. This one here, it was by title only. It said, here's what the agenda item is, with no supporting documents. And this is for, again, tons of money. That's our taxpayer money. Nothing's dictated out of what actually this is all about. So she brings it up here. Let's play clip one, Joe.
Yeah, it's a long clip. We can pause it somewhere halfway through.
All right.
Denise Coyne, she's landing.
Good evening.
Good evening. The Open Public Meetings Act requires public bodies to provide 48 hours notice of agenda items, including sufficient detail to allow for meaningful public participation. The supporting documentation for resolutions R-24:12-420 and 421 was not posted till late this afternoon. This meeting, the last meeting of the year, was scheduled 11 months ago. It should not have been a surprise to anyone. Listing these resolutions under the regular agenda rather than the consent agenda signals that they require discussion and debate. However, without the full details being made available, the public is effectively prevented from asking questions, making comments, or meaningfully participating. This repeated failure to proper notice limits the public's ability to engage with critical issues. Further compounding this issue, the 1993 General Bond Resolution of the MUA, which Resolution 2412-421 seeks to amend, is not publicly available. The Township's website does not allow residents to view this foundational document. Without access to it, how can the public evaluate or comment on the proposed amendment? I respectfully request that Council explain what extraordinary circumstances happened preventing the Bond Counsel and the CFO from preparing the necessary numbers and time to meet the requirement of the Open Public Meetings Act.
Absolutely.
And I request that Resolution 421 be tabled to allow for proper public notice.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Can you tell us?
It's not over yet.
You made a statement. Were you asking me a question?
I respectfully request that the Council explain what extraordinary circumstances happened preventing the Bond Counsel and the CFO from preparing the necessary numbers and time to meet the requirement of the Open Public Meetings Act.
So they were listed by title only and listed on the agenda that they would be available on Monday. Madam Clerk and Mr. Carlamere, would you like to comment on that? I'll start with Madam Clerk.
They were received today at 3:50 and 4 o'clock. And as soon as I received them, I numbered them, reformatted them, and put them on the website.
So did you put them on by title only?
In the agenda, they weren't available until today. The CFO let me know she would have the transfer resolution available today, and Bond Counsel would have their resolution today. And I spoke with Jeff Wadinsky around 3 o'clock today, and he said he would have it shortly after, and he sent it at 3:58.
So the form of the resolution content was not posted on the board?
Correct.
Just title.
Correct. It was just by title, and he supplied us with that resolution today.
And can the business administrator respond to, is there an urgency for these resolutions?
Yes, for both. For the transfer resolution, the CFO was working on the transfers all the way through today. trying to meet the payroll because we're on a short week. We're off obviously tomorrow and Wednesday. Payroll is on Thursday.
Those
So that
calendars are a
document,
mother effer, aren't they?
is a-
Like, you know, they
I
just
call
pop
living
up.
document. It moves all the way up until the point when she closes everything out. So that was one of them. The other one was waiting for the bond counsel who was working with the iBank to perfect the resolution. And that resolution frees up money that should have been freed up a long time ago when the authority was dissolved and it became a utility.
But it
And
wasn't.
what they're doing is they're tying that money up, that iBank is, and they should not be tying that money up. And it
It's
has
their
taken
money.
some time to
Like
get
literally,
that
they have
clarified
the
between
loan.
the township bond council and the iBank. And I would say to you, both of them are crucial. Number one, you're statutorily required to pass that resolution to do your transfer so that you do not finish with over expenditures of any appropriation, which would lead to a deferred charge in next year's budget and an over expenditure of the appropriations. And the iBank money would tie that money up that is right now free from that surplus balance that should be free and clear.
When is the next anticipated meeting on the governing body?
Not until January 13th.
So,
And that would be problematic.
so what would be the?
Are we able to
what would
pause
be the
this?
Deficiency in as far as
I know we got some new technologies here, but like, this guy loves to talk in terminology where he tries to make everyone sound like you don't know what I'm talking about. I know so much. I know so many terms, and I can throw out words that make you sound confused. And all it is all horseshit. I mean, it's little. So this money that has been in this money's existed,
It's
right?
got-
Last year's
yeah.
budget.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it now a problem? No, it's a problem because he doesn't have access to it in order for a future issue that he has in his sights, which is election year, where he can't raise. He needs this money in his. So it's just all horseshit.
He's got to plan ahead. He's got to plan ahead for an election year. And even later on, it's actually even asked, what if you didn't get this money right now?
Right. Yep.
What does that mean? Does that mean we can't? And it doesn't. What I took away from the whole thing was it doesn't really matter.
No.
It doesn't matter that it happens this meeting or next meeting, because people ask, look, if you don't have what you need for this meeting right now, push it. Push it away, and then do it in another meeting. But we didn't get a definitive answer that said that it actually had to
never
happen.
got any answer.
It didn't
on that
have
stuff.
to happen this meeting.
But yeah, all the different things that he's always. It drives me insane that he's saying it's as if like, look, the world's going to come to an end if we don't get this money right now. This is an emergency, but yet this same money has existed for he doesn't know how long. He literally doesn't care how long it's existed. But now it's an emergency,
and it's and we're talking about money that this is the MUA money, right? So this is money that we've realized on November 5th, the night of November 5th, that look, this wasn't going their way for the MUA. They had no plan past that point.
No,
they're so
none.
damn used to winning
Right.
that they had no plan past this point. And not only they don't have a plan for the money. They don't have a plan for the MUA beyond this. We'll dig into that later too.
Yeah,
but
that's later
this
on.
is so ridiculous. This whole thing. But yeah, let's finish up this clip here, and then we'll go on to the next
your office
bit of
is
it.
concerned? Because the tax statute does provide for urgent situations.
First off, you would be in violation of state statute at year end. You would have over expenditures of appropriations.
Why weren't they
You would
last
have
year?
Deferred charges to future taxation, which would be
Why wasn't there
emergency
last year?
appropriations in next year's budget. There would be audit comments that could affect us negatively with regard to any type of bond rating. The other is that the iBank situation and that resolution could affect the ability to appropriate any surplus for next
Hold on,
year's
pause
budget,
it there, though.
and could affect
It's his opinion that it's the iBank's the iBank should have released this money.
This
Hold on, the iBank is the one that gave you the loan, and they had stipulations around that loan. Who the F do you think you are to tell the iBank what they should or should not have released?
Oh, this is all opinion based too.
It's all opinion.
When we get later on into this, we'll talk about the board of not the board of public utilities.
Not the BPU. Who is it? Local finance board.
Local finance board.
Okay.
He has a lot of opinions on. Well, I feel like the local finance board thought this. And the local finance board. I think they made note of this. The local finance board didn't say any of the things. It's his opinion on what he thinks the local finance board thought. So he goes into that later too. And So look for that later too.
Let's keep going.
So the statute is not presented incorrectly, but it also does provide for urgent situations that are out of the township's control or business administrator's control in order to meet the agenda requirement. So there are circumstances when the municipal government has to act under certain urgent situations. And if your explanation, which has been placed on record, I would say meets those circumstances because of your end of the year. So I would think it's appropriate to move forward with it, but as long as those statements remain part of the record.
Thank you, Mr. Carlamere, and thank you, Mr.
As
Carter.
long as those statements remain part of the record. I think that's a key comment there. So let's keep that as part of the record. And as you all know, we keep receipts here. So
we can add. Apparently, we can add to the agenda if it's an emergency. But as long as we throw enough word salad out there, we can keep it on there as an emergency. We gotta get it on there.
Yeah.
Ray Polidoro comes up right after this and says that look, they've had enough time to prepare for this. Kind of what I was saying too.
Yeah.
You knew from election day that your plans for this money, it wasn't going to happen, and so Ray pretty much comes up and says that same thing.
Yes. Next is ordinance.
Oh wait, I'm
Good evening,
playing
Council. Ray Polidoro from the Historic Village of Ariel. Good evening.
the wrong one.
A sense of urgency and a sense of preparedness is two different things. You guys had dissolved the MUA quite some time ago. We've asked about the surplus. There was plenty of time to prep for this. The Christmas surprise is not the time to make it urgent. We've asked about that, the surplus. We've asked about the money and the funding of that $6 million. Mr. Cardis had constantly referred to that as a surplus. When we called it renewal and replacement, he corrected us. Now all of a sudden, when it's proper, we're going to call it renewal and replacement.
Oh yeah.
We're going back to 1993 to undo what the Municipal Utilities Authority did, and I've constantly reminded you what a well-oiled machine they ran. For $46 a quarter, they never raised our bills. They borrowed, they paid it back, they still never raised our rates. And they managed a $6 million renewal and replacement fund that Mr. Cardis couldn't wait to get his hands on. And he did. Now all of a sudden, we're going to go back to 1993. Now you got offended when I said that Mr. Cardis had a bunch of cash hanging out his pants. Well, it seems he went up into the attic and found a pair of 1993 cargo pants, tons of pockets, and now there's a lot of cash leaking out of them. And it looks like, once again, a money grab, because we, the township, cannot budget the way that the MUA did. I asked you last week, could you put the MUA back? It's not like the genie got out of the bottle. You wrecked it, but you can still fix it because the referendum and the people of Gloucester Township spoke. 21,000 people in this town told you what they thought. And this looks like a move of spite. We'll fix them. Somebody's quoted as saying, this don't pass, we're gonna raise taxes. All along, it looks like you have been disingenuous about the whole thing. Mr. Carlamere, with all due respect, you can say that he can justify a rush or emergency. You have plenty of time to prepare for this emergency. We've been asking these questions since they dissolved the MUA. We've been asking what money it saved. No answers. So, in essence, what you're telling us, and you have done, you did not save us money. You could not save us money. You could not do the job the way that the MUA did. And then all along, when 21,000 people, this township told you, no, $143 million for our sewer system, knowing our bills are going up. I don't agree with you. And I'm not a lawyer. I certainly don't play one on TV. But the sense of urgency is only tonight. They had plenty of time to prepare for this. We didn't have any time to prepare for this. We had no time. We couldn't read it over. I think the Open Public Meetings Act supersedes Mr. Cardis's claim for urgency. And while my time is up, I would like to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a healthy and happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr.
Think about it.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes.
So yeah, pretty much saying the same thing that you and I were saying, right? Same thing.
Yep. It Mr. Cardis's claim for an emergency somehow overrode everything else out there around this. That his claim. Yeah.
Yeah. So next up on the agenda is, and this public portion was a lot of talking about what was happening with the sewer system, but the public hearing, and this was the second reading. This is a public hearing for this, was on the sewer repairs. And I believe it's $580 or something. $583,000 that the sewer system needs repairs, and it's $583,000 worth of repairs. And what they want to do is they want to borrow for this money. And so there's a lot of the arguments coming up now is that, look, when we dissolved the MUA, we had $6 million sitting there in a renewal and
replacement fund. Yeah.
So we had $6 million sitting there.
You took that, you spent it, and now we need to borrow for it. Now, mind you, when the whole MUA dissolution came about, no one really realized how much debt the township was in, right? So we the GT Observer podcast kind of brought that to light for people and said, we're close to like $70 million in debt. People are like, what? $70 million? Yeah. And their response to this is, we're going to borrow more. It's not, you know what, you're right, we had that money, we have this problem here, let's use that money to do this. No. It's, guess what, we're going to continue to put you, the taxpayer, into further debt. I could possibly be wrong here, but I believe it's something around about $8 million a year out of our tax money just goes to paying off. It just goes to paying the loans for that year. The debt service. So $8 million a year just pays those loans. So yeah, when we say we're in debt, and you did it when you were out in parks interviewing people, you're like, how much debt do you think we have? And nobody was anywhere near the amount of debt. $1 million? I think it's $1 million.
Yeah, it was like $1 million. Yeah, there were people saying like $1 million. No, at the time it was like $70 million.
$70 or $80 million in debt. Yeah.
Yeah. So now people are saying, wait, now that you've got to make these sewer repairs, and you basically took that $6 million.
We had the money to do it. Why would you had it?
And now we're gonna borrow $583,000 and then put that on a long-term loan that's going to wind up going out 10 years.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, stop with the debt. So, first up on this is Ray Polidoro asking to use the MUA cash. There's still a little bit left. From that.
Good evening again. Ray Polidoro from Ariel.
Good evening.
Now that you're going to be proposing to grab the rest of the money from the MUA, which I believe is, and correct me if I'm wrong, around $2.8 million. Would it not be wise to take a pause? And if you're going to snag their money and put it into the general fund, that would then become available to take care of $585,000 rather than putting more money onto the debt of the township. It's kind of a wash. I mean, if you're going to have that kind of money, $2.8 million hanging around in cash, why not use the cash instead of borrowing another almost $600,000? If you do this right and you do move forward, which I'm thinking you're going to table the other because of the improper notification. You could almost do these hand in hand. Maybe it'd be a good idea to table one or the other to be able to use the available cash, which the MUA set aside for this exact reason, and maybe stop running and swiping the credit cards and pay with cash. You'll have it, and if you're making that move to free that cash up, why incur more debt for us, especially when the rates are getting high? I'd like a response from that, please.
Mr. Cardis, do you want to address that?
I don't agree with you. And I don't agree that the money's there for pay debt and for capital projects. I think that they accumulated a surplus balance way beyond what they should have. I think that went into consideration of the local finance board in dissolving the authority and creating the utility.
Think thought he farted, but he really
I
shit
think
his
it should be
pants.
returned to the taxpayers.
Well, we would like it returned and paying a bill rather than running our credit card. And the fact that you disagree with me.
Please do not step over each other.
Okay, so can I ask a question? Does anybody know who the administrator was, the bookkeeper for the MUA?
He knows damn right where he was.
Who's the one that was
No,
the account?
the financial, it was Bowman.
Okay.
Bowman.
Could the township,
Bowman was the auditor and Bowman did the budget.
okay, could the township maybe check with them? Because they ran such a good budget, they ran such a good surplus that we, the township said you were gonna save us money. You never did answer that. You still can't answer that. Now you've proven that you really, really are lousy at that. So why not
I think right now, I think he's rebooting. I think
This is- yeah.
There's a little bit of
rebooting.
reboot process going on here.
check with somebody who knows how to run a budget, who managed the surplus, kept our bills the same, rather than taking the advice of an accountant or an administrator who has basically fallen short. And
This is where he
raised our
knows he's
taxes
on
every
camera,
other
like
year,
up close,
and disagrees
and
because
can't start with his
that's a money grab.
smirking. You know,
Everything you're doing is the definition of a money grab. Now you're going to contemplate bringing cash in.
he's trying so
Bringing
hard.
cash in, you're still going to swipe the card. You have it's available, and instead of another $600,000, use the cash that was meant to do these improvements. Stop putting our township in debt.
That's him holding
You're
back
gonna
and
have to perform
throwing that
another
bottle
miracle
at
next year.
Ray.
It's an election year. I know you're not going to raise taxes because we got to reelect people, but the debt keeps
His
on adding
microphone is
up,
pointed
and the
in the right
rates are not
direction.
great right now.
Yeah,
So take a look at what you got. This ordinance combined with what you want to do in grabbing the rest of the MUA's money that you can free up for yourself and maybe pay a bill with it, because the debt just keeps on climbing. And at some point, you're going to force the middle class out of this township. You already have, but I mean the rest of us. You know, when people retire, they're never going to be able to stay in Gloucester Township. You just won't. You'll pay your mortgage off, and you're still going to be paying $1,000, $1,300 a month to live in your house that you paid for. It's got to stop. Use the cash. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, when we already went through this, it was the same thing. Ray said it's pretty much the same thing that we said. Don't borrow it. Don't borrow it. Just use the money that we have already. There's still money tied up from that. They didn't spend the whole $6 million, so there's still money tied up. So that's what he's saying. Like, don't borrow the $583,000. Use the money that you have already.
well,
The problem
one of
is-
the resolutions was to be able to allow ourselves to borrow that money.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, since they're both being passed at the same time, they could do that. Instead, they wrote a resolution to allow themselves to use that money, but also not use the money at the same time. So it's the same.
And you know what something that if you've not watched for a long time, something you need to understand right here is we're going into 2025 as an election year. So they have to go into 2025 with some kind of money,
Some cushion
to prevent a tax increase during an election year.
so they can run
So-
on. Look, we didn't raise your taxes.
Right.
Look how good we are.
So that the remaining amount of the MUA dissolution, they're holding on to that, and they're not going to spend that on these repairs because they have an election year and they can't spend that money during the election year.
Yeah.
Because they think that if they don't raise taxes at the end of the year, you're going to say, they don't
These
raise our
guys are
taxes. We got to vote for these guys.
These guys are great.
So they're using this
meantime-
money. They're taking this loan out basically for the campaign.
They're hoping no one ever realizes how much debt they have over here. Because right here, at the very moment, we didn't raise your taxes. However, we put you in so much debt you don't even know about.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get rid of it by selling your sewer system, because then we could have stayed in power even longer and wasted even more of your money. And instead, now, like Cardis Cam that we have going on here, you can see, like, the big gulp. Like, you ever see those cartoons, like, when, like, they're very nervous, and they're like,
it's like the apple.
And the Adam's apple, like, that's what he's doing up there. But you don't, unless you know and you follow this podcast and know, like, the BS games that they play, you don't see that going on. But that's what's going on up there.
And if you somehow forget what happened in 2024 with the sewer, and the no tax increase in 2025, if you somehow go in November and vote in 2025 and say, I'm okay with all this, 2026, they're going to hit you. They're going to hit you so hard.
Lord, yeah.
So let's get on to Denise Coyne talks about also releasing this money and for future repairs.
Can someone explain to me if you can do
watch how perturbed he gets at some point
tonight and approve it, which is a bond ordinance authorizing you to borrow money for sewer repairs, why do you need to do resolution 2412-421?
That is to release the money that the iBank has held up. There's roughly $2 million that they've held up that we do not have access to. So that's to release that money.
Okay, but wasn't that money set aside by the local finance board for the purpose of paying that bond?
It has nothing to do with, has to do with the fact that the iBank should have released that money when the authority was dissolved.
Pause that real.
They did not do that.
This mother effer. Hey, dude, the entire time that the local finance board stuff was going on, where they had to dissolve and everything else, he praised them as if they knew they knew how to cure cancer. They knew the cure for like world domination. Like, everything. They were God Almighty, right?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, the local finance board's holding that up. Now he knows better than them. Now they're a-holes for holding this all up.
About him was
local finance board.
They made this sound like it was the greatest thing ever.
Oh, you were on that call. Unanimous vote. Now all of a sudden, it's a problem. They've been holding us up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy.
Communication with the iBank for a long, long time now, and this is the culmination of all those discussions, and then finally recognizing that because it took a while for the Social Security Administration to recognize that the authority no longer exists, and so that held up some of it. But most recently is when the iBank began to take some action. And again, this is the result of this resolution 421.
Didn't the local finance board put aside that $208 million that said that you could take the remaining of the $6 million, but that $2.8 million had to stay?
They did in that particular year. I don't consider that to be
okay, but they did do that.
What was that? 62, 63?
I guess my question
24?
that still hasn't been answered is how, if you can do this bond ordinance now and approve it, you could do another one, could you not?
I'm sure we'll be doing more bond ordinances.
Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Okay, and you could do
Oh yeah,
another
I'm gonna
one,
stick it right up your.
another one, correct?
Yep,
There's
yep.
nothing to prevent you
Here he
from
goes.
bonding to do repairs to the sewer, correct?
Well, I mean, Ray spoke very highly of the people that were there when it was in the Florida just now.
Look at this.
They have a list of $19 million of projects I guess we'll be looking at pretty soon.
Right, that was scheduled to be done over
Could
the
you please
year.
could you not please let him finish, please, Ms. Coyne?
Don't speak truth.
Please let him finish.
No
There
truth.
will be, yes,
Hold on.
there will definitely be more bond ordinances and more borrowing due to improvements in the sewer.
Yeah, over the course of the next decade. But yeah, let's ignore that and make you look like you're the one that was wrong by voting no, because now we can't do what we wanted to do.
Now,
it's so infuriating, Joe.
the biggest takeaway from I think this entire podcast for me was 24/12/21, which is talking about the renewal fund is going away. Yep. So the renewal fund the renewal replacement fund, we've all the MUA knew they needed this money to hold on to for exactly that, renewal and replacement.
Yep.
That's going away. And this part right here, I think, is the most important part of the whole podcast. How they're going to get money now from now on after this. It's something that infuriated me, and I think you should definitely pay attention to this clip here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, from what I understand, though, this resolution 24/12/421 essentially is stating that the renewal and replacement fund is going to go away. You're going to take that money, and instead of raising money to pay for the renewal and replacement of the sewer through billing, the $46 a quarter, you're gonna raise taxes to pay for it. Am I understanding that correctly? So you're gonna raise taxes instead of doing it through the billing like the MUA did. They billed and they took a percentage of that money and they put it in a renewal and replacement fund to do repairs. So you're gonna take that $2.8 million, you're gonna spend it, and then you're gonna increase the taxes of the residents to do the same thing that the MUA was going to do through billing the customers for $46 a quarter, and you're also still going to bill the residents $46 a quarter, correct?
In my opinion, that money should have been returned to the taxpayer.
And no one asked your opinion.
Time ago, after the authority was dissolved.
Okay, forgive me, I didn't ask your opinion. I asked, you're also going to bill the
Please don't step over
customers
each other.
$46 a quarter,
I
correct?
just gave you my opinion.
You didn't answer whether you're going to still bill the taxpayers $46 a quarter.
Why would we not bill?
Okay. So I'm understanding it correctly. You're still going to bill $46 a quarter, and that was sufficient for the MUA to have the renewal and replacement fund, run the MUA, and take care of our sewer. And you're going to bill $46 a quarter and also raise our taxes to do what the MUA did.
All right, right there. Stop. We'll pause it right here.
Full
Right
stop.
now, so at this point right here, we've got the MUA has now. Later on, they'll call it in a couple minutes. They'll call it an egregious amount that they basically were essentially overcharging us, right?
Yep.
Because they have a $5 million a year budget. They have $6 million in what Tom Cardis calls a surplus. So they have enough money to maintain our sewer, enough money to operate annually, but then also have enough money in the bank to maintain the sewer for any repairs, any kind of replacements. So essentially, they were operating really well, right?
You can't say that though.
But Tom Cardis will tell you they were charging too much, like a $6 million surplus on a $5 million budget. It's egregious. But
I want to know what his opinion is. Not to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I want to know what his opinion is of if you have a 70, because he says the number himself, a $75 million budget, and you're $75 million in debt. What would you call that, Tom? Would you call that, was that responsible, or is
that's what he said. He said, could you imagine if the township had a $75 million budget and an $80 million surplus? And I thought, well, man, that'd be like we got all of a sudden we got really responsible.
Great.
Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, maybe we just stopped overspending.
Like,
but
let's put that in the average homeowner in Gloucester Township. If you had a job that paid you, just use $100,000 as a round number.
Yeah.
$100,000 a year, and if you had $100,000 in the bank, would that be better than if you had $100,000 in debt? Because the MUA was a $5 million budget, which actually wasn't their budget, but that's the number he decided to use. A $5 million is what they had in appropriations, and they generated more money than $5 million. But the township's budget of $75 million, and we're $68 million or $70 million in debt. I don't know. What's better, Joe? I mean, what would you?
Yeah, using the money that's in the bank so that you don't have to pay interest to anybody.
Yeah.
Like that's the best part. So yeah, just taken away from this, they were able to maintain on $46 a quarter. And now we're saying we're still going to charge you $46 a quarter. And they've also talked about, we might have to increase that rate a little bit. But on top of that, now the money for the sewer to replace the sewer is not coming out of $46 anymore. I have no idea what that's paying for now because the repairs for the sewer now are also going to come out of your taxes. So not only are you paying for your sewer on one bill, you're paying for your sewer on another bill now also.
Yep.
And if that doesn't infuriate you, I don't know possibly what can more infuriate you more than to get double charged for your sewer. Look, we've already got past the point where we were going to get like triple charged for our sewer going to American Water. Yeah. And now they're going to screw you this way. So, man, I just think about that. Think about how they're going to mismanage this thing. And damn it, we've got 1 year of them. We can make the change. I hope everybody pays attention. To this. It's just
the charging you and billing you on your taxes is absolutely insane because they used the example of the MUA and their fees and how well they've maintained the system and everything else in order to be able to dissolve it. And at the point of dissolving it, again, everyone has to remember that the only reason that they said that there was out there to dissolve the MUA was to save you money.
Yes.
And they could do it better. And we ended up where we are here today.
And now we're still paying $46 a month. And now our taxes are going to go up because of sewer repairs.
Right. Because of the sewer that you didn't want to sell, they claimed less than a year prior that they were going to be able to do it better and cheaper. This is the position that we're in.
Yes.
They are 100% gaslighting you. That is literally the definition of gaslighting.
There should be 10 more cameras next council meeting. Just point.
Oh my God!
So what happens to the excess money when you're billing $46 a quarter that the MUA was taking and putting?
Now he's going to tell you it's not enough.
Replacement fund.
Which question?
Where does that additional money go now?
What additional money?
The money that was going into the renewal and replacement fund from the $46 a quarter.
I don't know if there's any extra money available.
He just said it was too much.
I can't tell you whether there's additional money.
Well, you said you were going to.
Because he's a liar, Joe. That's why.
And the MUA was able to take a portion of that money and put it in a renewal and replacement fund. And you said you were going to save us money, so you should be able to put even more money into what would have been the renewal and replacement fund that now is no longer going to exist. So where's that money going to go?
You can call it the renewal and the replacement.
That's what everybody calls it.
They called it renewal and replacement fund. Your own resolution, the bond.
Yeah, but I disagree.
Well,
the
you
bond
disagree.
council, who we pay, called it renewal and replacement.
I mean, when you have a $5.1 million budget and you're sitting on over $6 million in surplus, I would call that a problem.
That's not a problem. That's great accounting. And then right before he said it was a problem, he said, well, we don't even know if there's enough money in there to cover anything.
Yeah.
It's
this dude pisses me off.
I don't know, man. How does this not piss everybody off?
I don't know. But every single person needs to see this. They need to see this. They need to watch it.
If you're on council and you think this is a problem, email Joe or Keith at GT Observer and let us know that you think this is a big problem.
Yeah.
I know that you can't.
That's JOE.
Yes.
And then the @ sign GT Observer and Keith is KEITH.
Yeah. Let us know that you can't actually speak publicly about it, but you're like, this is a really big problem. I know we're not going to get any emails from anybody on council because they don't
I
like
have
to.
a cricket in my box, but
There'll be crickets there. Yeah, just email us a picture of a cricket. Well, you'll be fine.
It was egregious. It was ridiculous that they would accumulate that kind of stuff.
It's ridiculous.
And I think the local finance board noticed that.
He thinks.
But it wasn't a surplus.
He thinks.
Part of it.
It's not their
$2
job to
million,
notice that.
According to your own bond counsel, was a renewal and replacement fund, which was set aside to fix things without having to borrow money, which causes more taxes for the residents because the bond people get paid a commission, do they not? Yes? So that's an expense that you save if you have money set aside where you don't need to borrow. You also have to pay interest rates, which you don't have to pay if you have money set aside that you don't have to borrow, correct? And debt is problematic in itself, is it not?
Why did the local finance board allow us to take that surplus?
Because it's not their role.
You're asking me questions instead of answering mine.
Why did they allow? Like that's just.
Dude, that's what they always do. They ask a question of either Denise or whoever else goes up. They ask her a question, and she's 100% right. What the F does
What is
her
asking me a
answering their question
Yes,
get
yes.
her an answer to her question? How? How is that possible? And, oh my God. Just, I get so irritated.
What was that? Was
with
that
this
7?
guy. Yeah, we
All right.
we're dragging here. We need to move on.
And then clip 8. Denise kind of get cut off here, but just I think to help Cardis out here.
Not only do we not have the money set aside to fix emergencies, we don't even have a plan to maintain
Nope.
our sewer to prevent the emergencies that you want to borrow for.
Sure we can issue that.
Oh, we can
No,
shoot that. There
I'm
you
talking
go.
about a plan
All right.
to maintain our sewer to prevent emergencies. We don't have one. That doesn't seem very smart either.
When you say we don't have a plan to address emergencies, what are you talking
No,
about?
we don't have a plan to maintain our sewer to prevent emergencies.
Yeah.
Just quick pause here.
That's a big
Last
difference.
meeting, Denise had a bunch of. She pointed out a bunch of things that Remington and Vernick found that needed to be repaired.
Addressed, yeah.
Yeah.
High
And then
priority.
She asked about those because they were not included in this $583,000.
Right.
And asked what plan they had for it, and they did not have a plan. That's what she's referring
They
to.
literally stated when she asked, "Do you have a plan for this?" They said no. We have
That
no
is
plan.
not part of the plan. So that's what she's talking about. So, and he forgets it apparently.
Yeah.
But you just told me it was operating perfect.
No, I said the MUA ran a fine operation. The MUA had a plan to maintain our sewer.
Mr. Cardis.
What changed? What do you mean what changed?
What changed between the authority being there and you?
Well, you're in charge for one.
What
That's
changed
it.
between the authority being there? They had a plan to maintain our sewer. You do not. They had a surplus. You want to
Excuse me,
take the
Ms.
surplus.
Coyne?
You have a copy of this plan they have?
Excuse me?
Do you have a copy of this plan that they have that you're talking about?
Which plan?
The plan that the authority had.
Which plan?
I don't know, you just.
To
said they
maintain
had
the
a plan.
sewer? To maintain the sewer?
Did they have a plan?
You
just
told
said-
me they were planning on spending $19 million. Didn't
That's
you
a-
say
that's a
that?
plan?
And I asked you December 9th, do you have a plan? Yes. Then Remington and Vernick, the own engineer that you paid when we dissolved the MUA, said that there was urgent things that needed to be done. Do you have a plan to do that? I asked. Your response was no. You do not. So, and then you told the Inquirer
Ooh.
that you're going to be reactive instead of proactive. That doesn't seem very smart either.
He's getting ready to blue screen right here.
Mr. Cardis, is it possible that
Yeah.
we can grab the projects that were addressed for when they wanted to go out for $19 million?
I'd be happy.
Oh, thank you for
Oh,
saying.
the plan that everybody forgot.
Oh,
The
thank
plan
you for
everybody
saving
forgot.
me, Orlando.
Thank you
Yeah.
for saving me. I was getting ready to crash hard right there.
Yeah.
And I just
What's the crash?
I gotta
sale
keep
from
this.
Windows.
Yeah, I wish I had that damn. Yeah, the yeah. Hide.
Booting down. Yeah. Oh my God. That guy.
So that is pretty much it. They voted after this to allow this to go through, and
Yeah.
unanimous.
But Joe, the look on his face as she's questioning him, and the disdain that he has for her line of questioning, and the almost dumbfoundedness when she's like, "If we're borrowing, it costs us more money. The bond council's getting money. You know, we're paying interest on this," and he's like, "Oh, when you're an accountant and you're just moving a bean from here to a bean, over here or something like that, and you don't think of it, and it doesn't affect your individual pocket that much. When he's moving millions of dollars around here, there, and everywhere else, he's literally just doing a job in order for a specific outcome to happen, which is like, hey, I need to get my boss, the mayor, reelected. Yeah. I need to get these people who on council who just vote for whatever BS I throw out there to put through. I need to make sure they get elected. That's the only thing that's at stake. If you were a business owner, right, and you have like your bottom line that pays your bills to put the food on your table for your family, your attitude is not what you see on that camera there. You're not like, we're going to borrow for it. No, dude, when you have, it is so infuriating to watch him.
Think about this. You have, all right, you've got a lot of different jobs going on. Like, I've got a full-time job. It's holidays. I'm wrapped up in all kinds of stuff. The last time that I watched a council meeting was the last time we did a podcast. I remember the plan that we talked about, the $19 million.
Yeah.
I remember all that stuff. You remember all that stuff with everything you got going on. The guy that's in this every day,
that's his literally job to do.
Forgot that
right,
it was $19 million. And there was that they had. Look, if you're going to drum up $19 million worth of stuff you need to buy, there's a plan involved in that, right? You got to know what you've already done the research to figure out what's got to be replaced. That's how you come up with $19 million.
How infuriating, right?
Yeah, we figured it out. That guy has not.
And it's his job, too.
That's his job.
Somehow.
That's one of his 5 jobs that pay him $232. 239? Do you think it might be 239?
A lot. Over $250,000 a year.
I don't know if the rest of our listeners make
$239,000,
but I'll tell you right now, I don't make $239,000, and I'm relatively really damn good at my job.
You're not as good as him, apparently, at lying to people.
Yeah, I don't work for government, so
yeah. So
it's not that easy to get away with stuff. All right,
moving on.
Taylor Ave, just an update on Taylor Ave. Taylor Ave, it's 100% grant money on their playground replacement. There is generally these things, I believe, generally when there's a playground grant, it is about 80%. So the state gives you 80%. The township has to put out 20%. This particular situation, it is 100% grant from the state.
I have a bond ordinance.
You got to put a bond ordinance in that say that you could borrow it could borrow for it, but it's 100% covered. So Taylor Ave is going to get their playground. It's 100% covered by grant money. They did a vote on it. There was a public hearing on it. Nobody spoke. There was a vote on it. No objections from anybody. So that went through.
Moving on.
Anytime we're not spending local tax money here, awesome. So eGov was up next. Dina Hendry sent an eGov in asking about the savings that we were going to, that we were, if you remember in 2023, when I ran for council, there were mailers that came out from who are currently on council saying, we've got all this, we're gonna save money by shared services and all this stuff. And Dina was basically saying, hey, these savings that you said, what exactly were you talking about by shared services? Was this getting rid of the MUA?
Yeah.
And their response was, no, this was working with the county on shared services. This had nothing to do with the MUA, which is funny because when we work with the county, we tend to just do exactly the same thing the county's doing.
Yeah, whatever they've done, we've just duplicated.
The county's like, we have a bear cat in case there's any kind of hostage situation, and Gloucester Township's like, we're gonna buy one of those too.
Oh wait, we
and
need
then
that.
Also like shred events. You remember before, like the county's like, hey, if you want to shred all your important documents, meet us here and we'll do the shred event. And then Gloucester Township's like, we're gonna do a shred event too. Yeah, so we don't do shared services for one. We just seem to duplicate what the county does.
Even our VA services, right? Isn't there?
That's another thing that it's got to come up later on.
Yeah, we have to do an episode. We shouldn't get into it here, but we should do a special episode on that.
We did.
We've talked to different veterans about this, and they're like, it is the biggest complete waste of money that you've ever seen. It's literally, they can't even we'll do it on another.
Yes.
We'll do it on another episode.
We take what the county does and we're like, oh, we can do that too.
We can just be the
Instead of-
information booth that sends you to the county, but yeah, we'll waste just as much.
Such a waste of time for our veterans and such a waste of money for our taxpayers. So Albert Newton, though, wants to know how much money the MUA dissolution is going to save us. Then he calls out for Cardis about lying about the savings plan all along.
Next is from Albert Newton, 1341 Blackwood Clementon Road. It has been entered into the public record in the 2023 application to the New Jersey Local Finance Board and stated on the public record at several Gloucester Township Council meetings that the main impetus for dissolving the GTMUA in 2023 was the Gloucester Township Administration's promise to reduce sewer operating costs and save taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
Over the months, GT Business Administrator Tom Cardis has been asked many times about these savings. Yet Mr. Cardis has never been able to apparently identify any significant savings from the dissolution, and he has defiantly refused to articulate to the public any plan to achieve savings. The rationale and now obvious explanation for this lack of transparency by Mr. Cardis is that he never actually had any intention to do anything and achieve savings. His assumption all along was that the Gloucester Township sewer will be sold off to Mayor's employer, New Jersey American Water, and that an actual savings plan would never have to be executed. So now the sewer sale has been resoundingly defeated by the residents at the ballot box, and now falls on the shoulders of the GT Council to compel the Gloucester Township administration to effect the promised tax dollar savings and to demand that the status of these efforts be tracked and periodically reported to the public. Mr. Mercado, when will Gloucester Township Council commit to representing the Gloucester Township residents and hold the administration accountable to achieve these savings? Mayor and council are always committed to representing our Gloucester Township residents, saving taxpayer money while providing services that promote the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens.
Yeah, exactly, kid. But this Newton guy, I don't know who he is, but this is the great points, right? The question that he asked there at the end, Orlando lumps the two together. The guy, Albert's questions were, is council going to hold the administration accountable?
Same team.
The administration, allegedly, right? These are two separate, you have different bodies of government, right? Like one's an legislative, one's an administrative.
In the hierarchy, yes.
So they're not the same team, folks. They're not supposed to be, right? So the administration is the one that wanted to, allegedly, administration is the one that wanted to dissolve the MUA, and council approved them to go and do that. So Albert's question was, is council going to now hold the administration accountable to do what the hell they said that they were going to do? Remember that when they dissolved the MUA, the only two reasons were because they could do it better and they could do it cheaper. So is council going to hold them accountable now that they did that?
No.
And Orlando's question was, we're going to lump the two together. Council and administration is committed to blah, 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 blah. That's a BS answer. That the guy's question...
They should never be on the same team.
Yeah.
They should not be on the same team.
No, they are supposed to hold each other. It's a balance of power there.
That should not... Everybody sitting up there should not be on the same team.
No.
Even council. Council should disagree with each other on some things at some times. They should have different opinions. But the fact that council and the administration, they're all on the same team. The guy on the administration hands out things on election day to get people from the same Democrat committee that the council members are on. It's one big team. It's one big team. And look, you ain't a part of it. So
you're not a part of it unless you are, and you're sitting here watching us because you hate us because we're speaking truth.
Yeah, shout out to the people that watch us and they hate us because they all do.
Yeah.
Norman Reel asks about Cardis' position and the structure of the government and those in question. We find out the council will be likely off the hook from answering questions in 2025. This is going to be a big one here. Yeah.
Norman Reel from 1501 Little Gloucester Road, Blackwood. Mr. Mercado said the business administrator serves at the pleasure of the mayor because he is appointed.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't
this one.
The council have to approve the business administrator's appointment? Yes, by consent of council to the mayor's appointment. if the business administrator answers to the mayor, doesn't he also have to answer to council because they voted to approve him? Council gives consent to the mayor's appointment of the business administrator. The business administrator is directed to attend council meetings by the mayor. If the business administrator is accountable to both the mayor and the council, shouldn't he be respectful to the public who pay him? Absolutely. Any individual that's on the dais here should provide respect to our residents. There are times that comments are made that are not the most nice of comments, and sometimes there may be people that respond to it. I have responded to comments that have been made to me in the past, but we should always be respectful to anyone that's at the microphone on both sides of the dais.
Amazing that he said
Mr.
that.
McCall said he wants to reorganize the council meeting like other boards in town that do not allow questions and answers. Aren't the zoning board and planning board members appointed? The zoning and planning board members are appointed. Doesn't that differ from the council, which is made up of representatives elected by the people? Yes, council is elected. Are you saying that you don't think that the council should have to answer to the people who elected you? We welcome comments and questions from the public. What has disrupted our meetings in the past is the back and forth between the individuals on the dais and also at the microphone.
That's what's interrupted the meetings.
And I'm looking to address that, and council will address that as we go into the new year.
He's going to address it. So yeah, people not holding them accountable, just asking questions of their government. Like, you're supposed to be able to redress your government. That's literally one of the, like, your amendment rights, right? Right? You're
any council
that's
meeting
an interruption of a meeting.
Yeah, any meeting that you watch, people go up and they ask their council questions, and their council responds to them with answers. So what we're thinking going forward now is, because there's been too much asking questions of our council, we're probably going to just look. My prediction here, and I made a few before, in 2025, you're going to get your 5 minutes. You're going to be able to go up there. You're going to say whatever it is you want to say, and the only response you're going to get back is thank you.
Yep.
And if they think that's a solid plan for 2025, I can already think of a yard sign campaign to put out there that says that they don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So
whatever
have at
it is,
it. If that's the
good
path
luck
that they want to
good
take,
luck with it.
Good luck with it. Because look, if maybe the Democrat committee is just done. They're like, look, we've had a run. The building costs too much. We're gonna sell it off here.
Yeah, sure.
And we got to get out of here. So look, we're gonna hand it over to the Republicans, who are quite shitty at doing everything else campaign wise. Look, they're not good at running elections. So look, that's just they're gonna hand it to them. They're gonna hand it to them. We're gonna go. We're gonna do everything bad possible that we could do in this township right now.
It baffles me that
if selling your sewer to the mayor's company wasn't enough, we're not even gonna pretend like you don't exist. When you come up there, you can talk to the little microphone without the lectern that may or may not come back, or we're not sure.
Yeah, we
you
don't
can go
know.
up there, you can talk to your little fancy microphone lectern. We're probably gonna have earbuds in. We're not even gonna hear you.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But is it just me, or is that amazing that's the takeaway that he has, like that he thinks that that's the answer, right? People, I don't even know who was the person's
Norman Reels. That's the name.
I don't even know the person, like a random person that maybe has caught on to our podcast and has listened and now starts paying attention is like, wait a minute, hold on. I heard what you said. You basically said you're going to stifle people's, speech at these things. And you're going to go like where they don't respond. Wait a minute, hold on. Are you not elected? Are those people not appointed? So not that they don't matter. I'm not saying they don't matter, but there is a huge difference between an appointed person and an elected person, right? So his takeaway was, oh yeah, that's fine. Though we're gonna do the same thing. We're not gonna listen to you. We're gonna do what we want. Hey, peon, flick you off. Get down. I'm up here on the dais. Yes, we should respect people, but Mr. Cardis, he's free to do whatever he wants because he's the one that puts all the budgets and the numbers together and everything. He's the one that whatever the case is, and they're okay with that. And he thinks literally from that person's question that's the takeaway that they should have, that people want, that's what people want. The people that he represents want him to stop you from being able to
spending
speak.
too much time talking to the peons.
Oh my God!
Like they got someplace better they got to be. That they need to shorten these council meetings. And hey, look, it's less notes for you and I.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
It's less notes for you and I. But they want to shorten these council meetings down to the point where they don't want to have the back and forth.
Yeah, no back and forth. We're not going to say anything.
They got better things to do than listen to us.
You're going to vote for us because our, politically backed money that came in here got us onto the ballot to get us onto the, get us elected. That's all you need to know. We're not going to answer you. We don't answer you. Who the F do you think you are?
Yeah, look, if you made it this far too, and you and you thought, well, at least I get some extra commentary on these council meetings, unless you have a short attention span like, dude, we talked about earlier.
Yeah, Joe
Subscribe
Graves.
to our podcast. Look, we're at like 491 viewers.
Right at 500.
I'd love to hit 500 before the new year.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Man.
I would. You know what?
Go ahead. Go hit the subscribe button down there. Turn the notifications on.
If you can just make up 8 accounts and just subscribe to the podcast, right? Tell your grandmother. She doesn't even have to live in Gloucester Township. Just subscribe to this podcast. I can help these guys out. They do good work. There's no reward on there. Some people say they're unwatchable.
It's nothing more than just a big middle finger to those that.
I want 500 before the mayor comes out with his podcast too, because.
Oh yeah, he's got. Oh my God.
Yeah. So
great content for us, folks.
Going to be great content on that. Not Restore GT. That still goes there too.
GTobserver.com.
GTobserver.com goes there. At Restore GT on Twitter and /GT Observer on Facebook.
I'm going next clip because I don't even know what you're saying here.
Keith Gibbons in Gloucester Township. Happy holidays. I'm trying to understand the decision the business administrator made about removing the lectern from the council chambers. From my understanding through record requests, that lectern has been in the building since the building was constructed. Why was it removed? If it was put away for some reason, can we be told the reason? Can it be brought out for the public to use? If not, why not? We're going to try to locate that lectern.
I know where it is.
That lectern returned back to council chambers.
It's going to be a hunt for this thing.
I know where it is. I've been told where it is. The multiple people from the building have told me. I know exactly where it is. I don't know why it's put away. It's insane. These people need to learn that they work for us. The people.
It's amazing. All these people have come up and said, can we have, was he 78? 70? He's 70-some years old. David Lee, I remember him yelling it out. I'm 70-something years old.
Right.
And he wanted a lectern, and they were like, no, you can't have a lectern.
It's right there.
Other people asked for a lectern, and then you just sent a nice email and just saying, hey, can we locate this lectern, please? And they're like, we're going to locate this lectern. You've made an impact. You've made an impact. If this lectern comes back, look, it's such a. This is me begging.
It's so stupid.
This is me begging the council that is right now. It's a comfort thing for the people. Let them just have the lectern.
Oh my Lord!
It is. It's not a show of power. Just let them have the lectern. There's certain things you can just hand them and say, "You guys can have this." It's that simple.
It was nothing more
this
than
is me as your consultant saying, "This is what I would do."
Yeah, it was a move of power to remove it.
And then we talked earlier about the Medicare stuff. Here's your.
We did. Yeah.
I also had several retired township employees tell me they had a contractual payment twice a year related to Medicare that they are owed. The most recent payments that they were expecting had not been paid out. It is my understanding that they're being told that the township hopes to pay this out soon. Why were they not paid? What is the total payment that was scheduled to be paid contractually but has not been paid as of 12/17/24? Was it everyone or just some people? This is very concerning. Can you please address this reason why they're not being paid? This is a personnel matter. It's a contractual thing between our retirees. They were contacted directly by Human Resources about the timeliness that payment.
No, they weren't.
Payments are made, it's made to those individuals on a yearly basis. They get reimbursed for the Medicare Part B contributions. So that they were informed, those retirees, of when they can expect that payment. There's nothing contractually that says a specific date that they have to be paid, but that was on the bill list and approved today by this council. So that's
good job.
Again, that's a personnel matter, and that issue was addressed by Human Resources with retirees in the township.
Now we know personnel matters usually happen closed door sessions. This I don't think is a personnel matter.
No, if he was able to say that much about it, I'm tying my shoe for some reason right now.
This is
if there was enough. If he was able to say enough about that, as what he said about that right now, it's not a personnel matter that he can't speak about, and that was what my point was.
Yeah, that if this is enough where the public is reaching out to us, it's not a person. It's not a private personnel matter that you discuss behind closed doors. It's made out now into the public. And yes, if you're not paying retirees,
you had an obligation to pay these people. It wasn't a surprise. This was a scheduled payment that comes every single year. You should know about this. It's like payroll comes say it's Mondays. I don't know what day payroll has to be in. It's a known thing. You know that this payment is coming. These are retirees that have spent their time dedicating their, careers to serve the town and serve the people. And you're not gonna reimburse them for what you promised them part of their retirement plan was going to be at Christmas time. They get paid two times a year, right? And at Christmas time, these people rely on this reimbursement. They're the way that it works is they pay their Medicare through their Social Security, and then they provide proof that they've paid that, and then they get reimbursed for it once in I believe it's June and December, or July and December. But they get paid 2 times a year, and it's spelled out, the 2 months, and one of them is December. And they were not reimbursed that money. Typically, that happens in the first week of the year. And I had...
First week of December, right?
Four different people tell me that they contact me. Who the hell am I? What do I know about?
Yeah.
I don't pay the... Why are they calling me? I didn't get my payment. All right, so you know what I did? I said I'm gonna do what I sent that eGov in. I said it's not gonna be enough. That's not enough. So I was on the phone with Denise and told her, hey, let's go up there and find out what this is all about. So her and I spent almost an entire day up at the township building waiting around for Tom Cardis or Chrissy Arrett to come out and explain to us why these people haven't been paid. The clerk didn't know. It's not her responsibility. She just told us, okay, here's how it all happens. The meeting goes over to... And I have us all on video, too. I took my video recorder. You know me. I took my recorder right there.
Oh, man.
In the mayor's office, when you asked what, a schedule, it's like, hey, who's in a meeting right now? I couldn't tell you. Okay, was this person in a meeting? Yeah. How do you know that? Well, because they're in a meeting. Well, who scheduled the meeting? Well, we schedule all the meetings. So we were told the mayor's office schedules all the meetings. Okay. They use Outlook for it, but they have no way of knowing who's in a meeting at any given time or when it was scheduled for. So now, hold on. Anyone that has a job in the professional world that uses Outlook, can you or can you not go in and say, all right, I'm going to go and schedule a meeting and see, okay, here's the people that I want to see. Here's their schedule. Here's their schedule. Here's their schedule. Or if someone said, what's Joe Allen's schedule for the week? I can go in there and click and print. Here's the schedule. Here's everything that he's accepted. And I don't know how to do that.
If I gave you, or if I had an administrative assistant or a clerk or something like that, I could share my calendar so they could see every detail on my calendar. Or they could just see my free and busy time.
Yeah, exactly.
But if there was a particular meeting, I could 100% tell you who's in the meeting, who accepted the meeting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's. But we went there, and you would have acted. You would have thought we were in the Stone Ages, and they did memos on stone. And they have to chisel it in and
that's the thing.
Come on, dude, are you serious? This is not. So we were already told that the meeting that they were allegedly in at the time of us going there it started at I think it was 9 a.m. and this was at 10:30. It went longer than what we needed to be. Okay, We waited around, and it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're like still in the meeting. And we saw somebody that was allegedly in this meeting walking by, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they're out, but they knew you were here, but not." Either way, it just pissed us off. Like all we were trying to do is find out what is going on with these people's payment. They are due this payment, rightfully so. It's Christmas time. What is going on?
Some of these people, I would imagine. Look, I've
relied on that.
Yeah,
they're a fixed income.
I've been in places where Christmas bonus, right? Christmas bonus is dependent upon whether or not I'm buying gifts. Like I've been there, and I can imagine
Jelly of the Month Club. Or...
I can imagine with fixed incomes, that payment at the end of the year. That's designating how you're going to how much money you're going to spend on like Christmas gifts, right? If you expect it at the beginning of the month, and it's now, this meeting was on the 23rd. These people didn't get their payments.
No, it's just
that sucks. That sucks so much they didn't get their payments.
Not only that,
Christmas.
So let's play it out. Let's say the 23rd is the date that they had approved it. Yeah. That means that the 24th is now Christmas Eve. They're not working the 24th. They're not working the 25th, Christmas Day. The 26th is now what, Thursday? So just say that, I don't even know if this was the township's meeting, but just say it was. The 26th they go in, they're able to print those checks, and maybe they're able to get them in the mail, right? So then the 27th is now Friday, and Saturday you have to process those checks. So maybe they now get them on the 30th or 31st, and you're like, all right. So it could possibly not even get to them till like January, to the people's mail, depending on how the local mail system works. I don't know. It's wrong. It's just wrong.
It crushes me, man, because it's just I've been in that spot where Christmas is a little bit tight, and it sucks so bad to know that money is, it's meant for you, and you're like. You can give it to me. You can give it to me weeks before Christmas, but then to have to get notification like that the check was cut like after Christmas.
Right.
That's such a stab at that. It irritates me so much.
But anyway, so that was pretty much
that's our Christmas meeting right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy holidays on that note.
Yeah. Happy holidays. Well, listen. The GT Observer podcast thanks all you retirees who have put your time in over the years and have retired. We thank all of you.
Hopefully you're all now followers and subscribers of our podcast, because
we are insufferable.
We're unwatchable. But we all it's the end of 2024. We all appreciate everything that you all have contributed towards this podcast, our website, any insights that you've given us over Facebook or Twitter.
Yep.
The research that some of the people have stepped up. The sewer thing over the last year, we had just a tremendous outpouring for people over the whole sewer thing. People wanted to step up and be volunteers.
Yeah,
that means so much to us. It means so much to the rest of the community that you all got involved. And it means so much to me and Keith that
we're helping to try to make a difference.
People come to us as an outlet, and it's been a pleasure to I guess serve in any way that we can over the last year, and 2025 is going to be pretty crazy, huh?
2025 coming alive.
It's going to be pretty crazy year. We've got there's another election. I feel like we just got done election day.
All right, well, let's not talk about it. Let's just go to bed here.
But I'm just saying, 2025 as a whole is an election year.
Well, that's true.
Man,
the mayor's up.
We got a lot to cover in that year. So
3 council seats, I think. Right,
the mayor and 3 council seats. Stay tuned. We'll give you information as we figure it out. We've got nothing to go on right now. All we got is davisnext.com that's the beginning of a movement that we have no direction yet.
Yeah,
but it's
we're waiting.
Follow us, folks, and happy New Year. And hey, if you've got amazing New Year plans too, don't forget to email us at these 2 email addresses below. Let us know where to be, because we have nowhere to go apparently right now. So see you, folks.
All right, folks. Take care.
Again.